Welcome everyone to today's debate. Before we start the round, I have the pleasure to introduce you the four teams that are debating today as well as the panelists. For this debate, in the opening government, we have Naomi and Fonda, and in the opening opposition, we have Nida and Aisyah, and the closing government, we have Yolanda and Zhafira. And for the closing opposition, we have Diva and Sandia. And then we have Farah and Hillary that will be adjudicating today's debate. Before we proceed, I would like to invite everyone to turn on your audio if you are going to speak, also to mention your POI. I also like to invite everyone to use your timer when you speak to make sure that you know your period of POI and you don't overtime yourself. I will show you if time has exceeded 7 minutes. Without any further ado, I would like to invite the Prime Minister to open the debate. For the Prime Minister, time is yours.
I will start my speech in 3, 2, 1. Ladies and gentlemen, in this era, a lot of people really think that they can be succeed just by doing what they really want to do. They forget that education also brings important roles in our success. Not only by doing random things or doing our hobby, there is a lot of people that succeed by doing what they want without going to school. But they still studying the material that they really like and they can make money from that. There is possibility for teenagers in this era to do the same things with people who succeed with no traditional education background. But they have to remember that life is not always about the best part. There will be the time that we are at the lowest part of our life. If we're not having any education background, we cannot survive when we are in our lowest part. I want to state two things here. One is education is really important for our future, and two, by idolizing people with no traditional education background can bring negative impact. Like what I already explained in the beginning of my speech, education is really important for our future. We can looking for a job using our education certificate, and we have knowledge about what we have to do and what we should not do in this life. We have the basic knowledge of this life by going to school. That's why school is really important for our future. Also, with going to the school or getting formal education, our young generation will have a really broad knowledge and a good mindset about life. In school, teacher will giving the students more information that will help young generation in the future. In school, we also learn about manner, so the young generation will have a good manner in the community. Ladies and gentlemen, by idolizing people with no traditional education background also having negative impact. Millennial generation is known as the generation that wants to be success instant way, and they do not put much effort for the success. They just want to be known by a lot of people for success in a short time with not much effort. With utilizing people with no traditional education background, our generation will be underrate the importance to go to school. Our teenagers will have a speculation that they can be success without formal education like school, college, or courses. Usually, people with no traditional education background will bragging about their success without going to school. Our young generation will believe it and do the same thing that people with no traditional education background. This is really important problem. If we let our generation keep this speculation, our country will be suffer because all this young generation underrate the education and not going formal education. That will make education index of our country go lower. In Indonesia, there are a lot of people who really want to get a formal education, but they cannot get that due to all the lack of equity in education. People in big city or town can get the formal education easily without any trouble that they face, but they choose to not take the opportunity to get that formal education just because they want to success by doing what they want. Ladies and gentlemen, we need to stop it before it makes more young generation have the same speculation. Also, we need to inform them that not all people will be succeed in the same way as other people. They have their own way to be success, and traditional education will help them to know what is their destiny or way to be success. With that step, we will make our country be more educated and make edu situation of our country become conducive. Thank you very much.
Continuing the debate, for the leader of opposition, time is yours.
Okay, am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Okay, I'm gonna start my speech in 3, 2, 1. I want to refute the government's claim that she stated there are a lot of people who really want to get the formal education, but they cannot get that due to all the lack of equity in education, which means by stating that statement, the government side indirectly opposes her own argument. It makes them fail to stand with their stance. Later, there will be many people who do not take education because they see that many do not take education, but they are successful. We must also see that not everyone can take the same education. What if, for example, he really has no money, really has no chance? You cannot force them. By not pursuing such education and developing their talents more, it is much more helpful and more profitable. And then we all know there's something more we can achieve in life. If only we knew how to do it, the response is here to show you how. We do that with an education model emphasizing learning by doing. Textbook and final exams exist in the 20th century. Now, 2 decades into a new century, we know that when you see how to do something and duplicate the action yourself, your path to success is much quicker. Since our youth, we've been taught the importance of staying in school. We've been told that if we go to school, get good grades, and stay out of trouble, we'll find a successful career with a wealthy income. Parents and teachers promise we can do anything we set our minds to. Can it really be that simple? How you ever know anyone with a college degree who doesn't make as much money as they thought they would, or they don't like what they do for a living? Have you also noticed those rich and famous entrepreneurs and celebrities who never went to college or never get a degree? We will explore some of the differences between an education by traditional means such as college university. In recent years, we've seen a dramatic shift in cost associated with attending a traditional college or university. Goldman Sachs says many students are better off not going to college if it's a mediocre one. They report that college graduates of school earn less on average than high school graduates. They even warn those who are considering mid-tier college as well, due to the costs and the opportunity the education may or may not provide. So why are some people successful in reaching their career path while others are not? Many people who go to a college or university uh, go on to live a perfectly happy life, obtaining everything they set out to accomplish. There are far too many, however, who go through years of college only to end up in a career unrelated to their degree. We all know someone with a college degree from a good school but who don't like their job or don't have the pay they expected to receive when meeting with college and university counselors. And there are someone who never obtain a degree at all but go on to build wildly successful careers. The key to success is not just obtaining a degree, it's obtaining an education and doing something with that education. Some of the most accomplished people in the world are self-educated. These are the people who are really engaged, focused, and driven, and you'll find these people from all walks of life and with varying degrees of education. These are the people who learn so that they can make a difference in the world, not necessarily pad their resumes with degrees and credentials. And then why do some successful entrepreneurs choose to pursue a degree or further education? It's important to not confine success to financial stability. Although this is typically a primary component, there are many people who live perfectly content lives while receiving a modest income. Career success can mean you simply love what you do. It may not be as important to you as the incoming earnings. Many successful entrepreneurs we know today, such as Bill Gates, Microsoft founder, Mark Zuckerberg, founder of Facebook, Steve Jobs, co-founder of Apple, dropped out of college in pursuit of greater opportunities. All in all, we see that the traditional education or an elite school with a high tuition and thought classes is no longer as necessary to someone's financial outcome. I'm very proud to propose. Thank you.
Thank you for your speech. To continuing the debate, for the Deputy Prime Minister, time is yours.
Okay, I'm gonna start my speech at 3, 2, 1. Ladies and gentlemen, nowadays being a high school graduate does not open the doors to as many rewarding careers as it did in previous generation. Currently, in order to lead to a satisfying career is to study and get the highest education. Currently, in order to lead to a satisfying career is to study and get the highest education. Well, you may not know exactly what you want to do after graduating from college. At least you know that you want a more rewarding and well-paying career. These factors are reinforcing reasons why they are willing to invest the higher education both with money and time. Ladies and gentlemen, research say that on average, college graduates with a bachelor degree earn up to 56% more per year than high school graduates, or equivalent and 31% more than those with diplomas. In fact, according to a study by the Georgetown Institute of Public Policy by 2020, 65% of all jobs will require post-secondary education and training outside of secondary school, and 35% of job vacancies will require at least a bachelor degree. This, this proves that traditional education is still very important to ensure a decent life and future. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to say that by idolizing people with no traditional education background can bring negative impact, because what we all need is traditional education. In traditional education, we are trained in our chosen field. Not only that, we are also taught to think analytically and communicate our ideas effectively. Higher education trains us to be more professional and certainly work-related skill. However, by continuing your education, you acquire a variety skill that can qualify you for a wider range of career options in a variety of fields, and which offer more room for advancement. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to say, I'm sorry. Ladies and gentlemen, we need to know fact that having a higher education make us more confident. We consider higher education as a journey which in its achievement requires more effort and time. So this can make you a little proud because you can achieve it all. Even if you can work the career you want, you can still move on to a different career from what you studied. The hard work you put on your way will never go away. Ladies and gentlemen, here we can see that traditional education requires more effort to achieve it. This can be proven by the increasing number of undergraduate. Therefore, traditional school give positive impact. Ladies and gentlemen, I take an example from Putuswantara. He is a young entrepreneur who won a doctorate degree at the age of 31 years with various activities in leading and managing a number of his companies. He was not discouraged in studying until he was at the highest level. In fact, he also emphasized that with the provision of higher education, to post, especially up to postgraduate, he will have deep thought and broader knowledge, which will certainly be useful in helping develop his business venture. Thank you.
Thank you for your speech. To continuing the debate, for the deputy leader of the opposition, time is yours.
I'm Aisyah from opening opposition. From 3, 2, 1. We said the House regret the idolization of individual will achieve success without going through traditional education. Traditional education is defined as teacher-centered delivery of instruction to classes of students who are the receivers of information. So, does traditional education guarantee success? The short answer is not really. Why? Because since the turn of the millennium, students have been increasingly encouraged to attend college after high school. They genuinely desire to learn, aside 72% of college graduates pinpoint career goals as their main motivation for pursuing a college education. Just because more students are choosing to matriculate to post-secondary education, it doesn't mean that this is the only or best way to live a good, happy, and successful life. We hear regularly about the successes of college dropouts, like Bill Gates started Microsoft when he was 19 years old and has since become one of the world's wealthiest people. Then Mark Zuckerberg owns one of the most highly valued tech companies in the US, and Steve Jobs founded Apple in his courage. While comparable levels of success are highly imparable for most people, college graduates or not, the shared characteristics of this individual provide us with part of the framework to achieve success outside of the realm of convention. Drive, self-reliance, and passion are just a few of the top qualities of highly successful people, and turns out we can acquire these traits both with and without college education, or we call traditional education. And it is not for everyone. So it's important to open up the conversation with students about alternative routes to career and life success. So some things can be done with the traditional education, or we call it college education. First, trade schools and vocational training. Unlike traditional education, trade schools offer an education specific to certain fields. For example, a welder attends trade school to learn the craft of welding. These skills are directly and immediately applicable to a trade career, allowing people access to stable work and benefits over going to high cost and extensive time need to pursue a traditional education. Second, entrepreneurship. Starting a business requires initial capital, and with climbing rates of students' diabetes can be hard to come by after attending a 4-year university. While entrepreneurship is still a risky, therefore, there are many access points to funding that make entrepreneurship a more viable a route to success than it has ever been before, whether you have college education or not. Then the third is join the military. Joining the military is not just for students who don't who do not classify themselves as book smart. It is a highly regarded and valuable path to learning life and technical skills, as well as honorably serving our country. The military is an excellent route for students who want to be held accountable, and it's opened up the door to incredible opportunities throughout the career life cycle. And the last, learning by doing. Uh, This was said by Nida earlier, and then as said by Fonda, in my opinion, it's only higher education to increase knowledge, but learning by doing and exploring, individual will be more effective. Mm, Then you first start doing things in a protective environment, playing with meager resources and academic limits while you do your entrepreneurship degree or even an MBA. The people you meet, the network you build, and the concept you learn will all introduce you to the big bad world of entrepreneurship. The learning by doing approach will possibly be the biggest contribution. Soon after this, that's the only way you ever move forward. You learn, you do, you fail, and you start all over again. That is the school of hard knocks. This can be seen from Lainey Siswandi, starting from the story of the husband bringing the fish he caught come and Miss Lenny likes spicy foods, and by chance her friend also came. She finally made a delicious chili sauce. All of his friends suggested there are open food stalls, so Miss Lenny has produced the chili sauce in the package called burudi, sambal burudi. Thank you, and that's all for me.
Okay. Thank you, Miss Aisyah, for your speech. And to continuing the debate, we welcome the member of the government. The time is yours.
I will I will start my speech in 3, 2, 1. Ladies and gentlemen, maybe many people who do not receive an education can achieve a success, but I think it's only be obtained by a few people because they were all just lucky. Society should not be too obsessed with people who can success by not getting an education because basically education is most important thing in making change in their life. As one of the Indonesian political figures is also a successful entrepreneur. Previously, Sandiaga Uno studied abroad to places as a graduate of Wichita State University and George Washington University. Ladies and gentlemen, as a mention of Naomi by idolizing people with not traditional education background really having a negative impact for someone. People who have no education background really having negative impact because millennials want to be success on an instant way and don't do their best in the world of education. Many people can believe about the success without education background. This is a very problem. Ladies and gentlemen, as Naomi said, we need to inform them that not all people will be success have the way as other people. We must to give inform to other people to be success with the education. We must to help them to know what is their destiny or way to be success. Ladies and gentlemen, as Fonda says, education make your more confident. Education is seen as a journey which requires effort and time to achieve it. Besides that, with higher education, we can acquire a variety of skills that can be a condition for choosing broader careers. Ladies and gentlemen, formal education is also important to measure of one's success. It is a learning process that has share in all of this. But from the learning environment, the presence of the material and the assigning system in educational institutions. Education is the yardstick for success. With the many educations program, decide to take your having no experience in area to being highly skilled and ready for the job market. Having a bachelor degree is our clear advantage. Through education, we can also develop to the potential that is within so that we can achieve in maximum desire. Education can also pledge a person's time to his identify. Ladies and gentlemen, education is very important because with the education we are also able to shape our character. Not only about the lesson we get, but we can find out about how to write. And gentlemen, education is very important because with the education we are also able to shape our character. Not only about the lessons we get, but we can find about how to respect the people around with us. With education, a person we can become a more knowledgeable person and have a more good experience. Success is very dependent on education, especially with higher education. Someone will be able to learn a lot, not only in subjects, but about how someone already has a business or a work with other people. Thank you.
Okay, Miss Yolanda, thank you for your great speech. And continuing the debate, we welcome member of the opposition. The time is yours.
Am I audible?
Yes.
I'm gonna start my speech in 3, 2, 1. Ladies and gentlemen, let me remind you that we actually have missed the real meaning of education. The real point of education is to make us aware of ourselves and the world around us. Once a person has realized what they want, they can educate themselves and acquire the necessary skills to reach the heights that they set for themselves. And in my humble opinion, I think it's clear that those lists of people who success without the help of education are brave enough to take risks to reach what they really want. There are two kind of problems here that I will elaborate more in my arguments. The first one is society stereotype that uneducated people can success in life. The second one is people thinking that the way to success is only through formal or traditional education, and that's why here I've provided as a mechanism to explain why we believe that the idolization of individuals who success without going through formal education deserve more recognition. And first is to complete why my opening opposition already said that traditional education doesn't guarantee any success by listing out another way to gain thing that called education without the need of formal education. The number two is providing a sample of list of people that made it to the top of success without getting the traditional education as a proof. The first one, we need to understand that the formal education isn't for everyone. And in here, I'm gonna address one thing related to the OG argument that our O already expressed before. The OG argument said that it is for us to understand the fact that they said everyone need a higher education, but we need to realize that the fact that traditional or formal education is not for everyone. And here I'm giving you an example that Steve Jobs chose to drop out from the university because he doesn't have money to fund the tuition fee. And it's a proof that education is come with a free access. Number two is about formal education that will never be synonymous to the success. A less educated person who understands and willing to go that extra mile to achieve the goals will certainly achieve success. In this case, your level of education has nothing to do with the level of success, and that is why understanding how to develop the ability to improve oneself is canonically crucial. So I think, ladies and gentlemen, it's all about how oneself didn't let the school interfere to you to improve yourself. For instance, lots of big names who success in their life but never get through the door of diploma, names like Steve Jobs, Evan Williams, or Indonesian figure that we all know, Susi Pujiastuti, but all those names is the sole proof that success can be achieved without traditional education. The real proof of people that made it to the top success, like Mikhail Dell, still struggles and dropped out of the University of Texas at his freshman year at the age of 19, where now he is known as the wealthiest person. Another person that another people that I will give is Bill Gates, that leaving Harvard to build Microsoft, and today he is the most richest man in the world, and also Steve Jobs. And we also need to know that did all the people had it easy? No. According to Steve Jobs' biography by Walter Isaacsons, you will find that Steve Jobs' success didn't occur in a linear trajectory, rather than his struggle and success only to struggle and success again. And I take it as another proof that it's not only about education, but once again as the willing of individuals with the ability to improve themselves. And that is why traditional education is no longer necessary to guarantee the success of someone. And that's all. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Ms. Diva, for your great speech. To continue in the debate, we welcome the government whip. The time is yours.
Okay. I will open the speech in 3, 2, 1. It is now confirmed that many people live well with successful economic, social, and personal standard without having to go to college. So since this time, students have been increasingly encouraged to attend college after high school. In order to lead to a satisfying career is to go to college and get the highest education. While you may not know exactly what you want to do after graduating from college, at least you know that you want a more rewarding and well-paying career. Some students do their own learning to determine their graduation in college by motivating themselves to their career goals of pursuing college education. In modern education, we are trained in our chosen field. We are also taught to think analytically and communicate our ideas effectively. Higher education trains us to be more professional and certainly work real skills. Okay, independence, patience, and passion are just some of the top qualities of highly successful people, and it turns out that we can acquire these traits but with and without a college education. College isn't for everyone, so it's important to open up conversation with students about alternative routes to career and life success. Here are a few ideas to consider. We consider higher education as a journey, which in its achievement requires more effort and time. So this is this can make you a little proud because you can achieve it all. Even if you cannot work the career you want, you can still move on to a different career from what you studied. The hard work you put on your way will never go away. Okay? If students are unsure about attending a traditional four-year college, the campus community is a useful way to gain experience and take the time to find out what is right for them. Public colleges vary widely in terms of subject matter and cost-effective ways to gain useful skills and work experience. The society should not be too obsessed with people who can succeed by need getting an education because basically education is the most important thing for someone to achieve success. Many people have attained higher education and succeeded in making changes in their lives. With education, we are better equipped to compete with people out there who are much better and higher in quality. Through education, we can also develop the potential that is within us so that we can achieve maximum desires. But in my opinion, more precisely don't accept it is indeed those who take traditional education in the sense that previously they dropped out of school were more exalted or more successful than those who took college education. They seem to be accepted directly by their success no matter where they got it. We don't know the side. Moreover, those who enter college still find it difficult to get a job or be successful in life. It seems that employee seekers are more concerned with the skill of that person than the education he is taking. Okay, that's enough for me. Thank you.
Okay, Ms. Zhafira, thank you for your great speech. And we would continue in the debate for the opposition whip. Time is yours.
Am I audible?
Yes, Miss.
Okay, I will start my speech in 3, 2, 1. Ladies and gentlemen, they say that the idolization of individuals who achieve success without going through traditional education is regretted. We say no. We can idolize whoever we want, especially those us who can be successful without going through traditional education, as long as they can called as one of the people whose name in the list of the richest people in the world. And for example is Bill Gates. He is success and that it inspires many people to be successful. Even though he even quit from his college, he can founded the Microsoft that he owns until now. The Microsoft founder has a fortune that we can be amazed at. Moreover, Bill Gates decided to leave Harvard and be successful. This is, this is of course supported by several things. One of them, with his persistence to fight. Therefore, it is important to set targets. This target will motivate us to continue to strive to achieve it. Failure is definitely there, but by having a target, we will always remember it and try to rise from adversity. Targets will make us continue to struggle without stopping until we succeed in achieving them. Once again, we can idolize whoever we want, even without going through traditional education. If we can be careful in reading opportunities, we can be successful. If we want to success to achieve something, then we should be able to consider the risk. For example, when we are going to take a change, especially research, we must considering how the risk will be. The important thing is we know very well how many resources and strengths that we have. Looking for innovation is also necessary to be successful without going through traditional education. You have to come out with innovation that really work. Come with new fresh innovation will be really help you. Kids also talks about the importance of recognizing and appreciating the different talents and ability of each person. We must apply these tips in our life to be successful. It is just enough just to read and understand them. In the process, of course, it is very difficult to do. But believe me, all of the effort we put in will pay off when we reach the top of the success. Even if the idolization of individual who achieve success without going through traditional education is regretted, it is cannot be justified. There should be no judgment to idolize them. As long as those who are idolized have a positive impact and encourage them to success. Therefore, having a different perspective on someone is not to blame. Everyone has the right to choose their role model. Our parents used to encourage us and set an example by introducing some successful, idle, and knowledgeable people. And nobody is perfect. Everyone has their own strengths and weakness. But for me, Being successful in achieve something is one of the main parameters to measure whether someone is worthy of being a role model. Thank you.
Okay, Miss Sandia, thank you for your great speech. And that was our debate today. Next, we will give the adjudicators 10 minutes to discuss the score and rank. For the other participants, please turn off your camera and we will be right back in 10 minutes. Thank you.
All right, everyone, we have finished our discussion and have determined the score and rank. The first rank is the opening opposition, then followed by the closing opposition in the second place, then opening government in the third place, and closing government in the fourth place. Now I will deliver my reason. For the first place, opening opposition, they support their statement with a good analysis and explanation. They also support their statement with fact. And then the second place, the closing opposition, they have good statement, they give logical explanation, and they support their statement with a good reason. And then the third place, the opening government, they give logical explanation to support the statement, but they didn't support their reason with enough evidence. And then the last place, the closing government, they have good statement, but they also didn't support their reason with enough evidences. Next, Fara will deliver her reason.
Okay, thank you, Miss Hillary. And next, I will give my reasons for the first place, the opening opposition. They have brought contextualized arguments, but lacks of deep analysis, and also it lacks of updated facts from our country, like the examples or anything. And then the second place is the closing opposition. We have found a lot surprising contents and unpredictable logic and arguments, especially about how to face the situation at the motion wisely. But we have found that it lacks of updated facts and the elaboration. And for the third place, the opening government, they has brought good arguments but lacks of deep analysis and example. Also, it's not enough to be an opening. And the fourth place, for the closing government, it lacks of arguments about previous speakers, and also the examples should be added. So congratulations for the opening opposition for your first place. And so that's all for us. I think that's enough. Thank you so much for giving me and Hillary a chance to be an adjudicators. Thank you for all the speakers and see you at the next events.